These are the plaintiffs, John and Denise Dwyer. John says he and the defendant are neighbors, and due to his negligence and failure to properly prune his trees, a large limb crashed through the rear window of their Ford Explorer and damaged the interior to boot. Needless to say, they're having trouble collecting the money needed to make the repairs, and they're suing their neighbor for the $5,000 they're owed. This is the defendant, Tom Gentile. He says there was a huge snowstorm, which damaged a lot of trees in his area, and they were without electricity for 9 days. The cleanup took a lot of time for everyone because the crews were inundated with tree and branch issues. He gave the plaintiff his insurance information, and next thing he knows, he's being presented with an outrageous bill for a truck which is only worth $600. Besides, this whole incident was deemed an act of God, and neighbor or no neighbor, he's not going to be ripped off. He's accused of blowing hot air.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs say the defendant ignored the hazard from his trees and it crashed into their Ford Explorer. But the defendant says it was an act of God in the form of a mega snowstorm. It's the case of, have you driven a Ford through a tree lately?
Okay, John and Denise Dwyer,
yes.
You are suing your neighbor, Tom Gentile, okay, for $5,000, $1,840 to repair a car that you say was damaged due to his negligence, $349 to repair a shed, and the rest of it in pain and suffering to get you to the statutory maximum. Tell me what's going on, because you must be pretty mad.
Your Honor, we had a snowstorm back in October of last year, and our neighbor had a lot of tree damage.
What day was the snowstorm?
The snowstorm was 10/29.
Right, making Halloween sort of difficult.
Yeah, it made it extremely difficult.
Right.
And he had a lot of trees that were lining on our property line. And the day after the storm, when we woke up, we noticed that he had snapped from the weight of the snow, and there was a tree limb across the cupola.
Okay.
We didn't remove the tree limb because we told Tom, and he saw it at that time, we were going to take pictures for our insurance company. And we had been in the process of leaving to go out to get something to eat. When we got home, we noticed the tree limb had been removed. And my sister, who lives up the street from me, her and her husband drove down and happened to see the tree limb on there. And me, because I have a problem with my balance because I can't hear well, my sister went up there and removed the tree.
Oh, so it wasn't him, he wasn't the one who removed it, was your sister being helpful.
But he did notice my sister over there, and he came over and he told her that John told me not to remove the tree limb.
Oh, that was nice. Right.
And so, yeah.
How long does it take for everybody to take a picture? Don't you have cell phones with cameras?
We had no cell service. That's
but do you need cell service to take a picture in a cell phone that has a camera? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, but in any event, you don't deny that a limb from your tree fell on their shed during the storm?
I don't deny that at all.
Okay, so we don't need pictures, so go on.
Okay, it had originally damaged the top of the cupola, and
okay, so we have the cupola, and that's what you're suing for, $349. It's actually the top of the shed you're calling the cupola. Because it was
and the cupola was damaged, so the top came off, and then all the rain went into my shed.
Do you have a picture of the shed?
Yes, we do. We have pictures of the shed and the cupola, and the dates on the back of the photos as to when I took them.
Okay, so then tell me about the car damage.
Okay, about 1 week later, we had a severe windstorm, and we were having some crazy weather back then. And we had a severe windstorm, and the windstorm actually...
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm confused. Is this the shed?
That's the roof of the shed, and that's
the shed. How big is a shed?
The shed is 30 feet long.
Yeah, it's a really big shed. It's not what I expected to see, one of those little tin things. Okay, so this is, what is this cupola for?
It's to ventilate.
Ventilated. All right, so that's what you're saying is the $349 to fix.
Right.
Okay, all right, so tell me about the car. I'm sorry.
Okay, the car, like I said, about a week later, I had a windstorm. Woke up in the morning to go to work. I leave for work at 6:45 in the morning. and I just happened to sit in my car, and I noticed a small piece of glass that was on my dashboard. I didn't think anything of it. So then I went to turn around to look, and there's a tree in the back seat of my car.
There's a tree in the back seat of your car, and you didn't notice it when you got into your car? You must be mighty tired at 6:45 in the morning.
Because I have tinted windows.
The tree was in your car. How does tinted windows come into play? All right, do you have a picture of the tree in your car? I have to see what you did not notice.
Not the tree.
Not a detail guy, your husband, right?
We don't have a picture of the tree in the car because I knocked on the defendant's door in the morning and explained to him what had happened. He came out to help me remove the tree, and then I had to go to work.
Okay,
so
but I thought I saw pictures of a tree in a car. Where did those come from?
Okay.
Can I see your pictures of a tree in a car?
Absolutely.
Okie dokie. This is what you didn't notice?
Yes.
Is that how it looked and you didn't notice it? How does it even get that way? This is the base of the tree that's in there, it's not the top of the tree.
No, it's a branch.
It's a branch. And so would it go flying or something in the storm?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the trees are close enough, about 15 feet away from the edge of my driveway.
Yeah, but how does it get from point A to point B?
It must have snapped and came down.
Did you notice? Are you testifying that that branch was snapped off from the original storm?
Yes.
Okay, why would you park under it?
Where am I supposed to park? I can't park on the street. And I've always been parking there.
Okay, are there still broken branches on those trees?
Not the tree in question. We have a whole line of trees along the property line.
Right.
And it looked like, the best way to explain it is like a banana peel. All the branches just were collapsed because of the weight of the snow on top of the leaves.
From the October 29th storm.
Right.
Okay, so on the day that your car ends up with a tree growing out of it and you don't notice it, was what date?
The 16th, 11/16.
11/16. So that's now 2 weeks and some change later.
Correct.
Okay, so if there were broken limbs, why did you not take care of them?
Well, because we had, along with the storm, we had 9 days of not having power.
Is that accurate? Yeah. This was really bad.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
There were trees down all over town, all over the state. The governor declared a state of emergency.
Right.
And we had the tree company come out after the power was restored. We had a tree company come out. We called multiple tree companies. We barely got companies to call us back because there was so much work to be done.
Right.
When they came out, they looked to see. I said, "Listen, we need to trim the trees. We need to cut one down." And they said, "Okay, it'll be 3 to 4 weeks until we're out there."
All right. And you tried other companies?
We tried. Yeah, we tried.
All right. So what did? Is your premise that he has to pay for this damage because they're his trees?
Yes, they're his trees.
Okay.
And I mean, my homeowner's insurance would not cover it.
Right. And what did your homeowners say?
My homeowners, as soon as the tree went through the branch went through his car,
which you helpfully took a picture of.
Yeah, yes. And really, if you notice, there's no snow on the ground anymore. And that was 2 weeks later. The snow had melted. It was just a freak kind of storm. But the homeowner's insurance came out and looked at the tree that branch came from, looked at the car, and just said, "You know what? It's storm related. It's nothing negligent. It's a healthy tree. As you can see, the leaves are on the trees. It's not anything that we did wrong.
It's an act of God.
It was an act of God."
Okay, and therefore it's not negligence on your part, so they're not going to pay.
Correct.
And they denied the claim, right? Correct. Okay. How is it not an act of God? I think that the only theory you can travel under is, hey, Judge, this thing was hanging beforehand. I know because I saw it. But if it really does take weeks and weeks to get a tree guy out there because it's such a disaster that the governor has declared a state of emergency, okay, then what did he do wrong? For him to have to pay, he has to have done something negligently. What did he do wrong?
Is it fair that the person who suffers the damage has to eat the cost if it's an act of God? What do you think?
Yes, I do.
Why is it fair?
Because you should be happy that you're still alive.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. What do you think?
I mean, I think
the person.
It just kind of sucks either way.
Yeah, it depends on the tree.
Well, no, but I mean, if the tree's damaged, then clearly. But is it fair if that person just has to eat it?
I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Someone's got to pay for it, and I mean, if the person who owned the tree, if they knew that it was in
well, then they have to pay.
Then yeah,
but otherwise, the guy just eats it.
Pretty much.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Back in the summer of the same year, we had a tree company at my house doing some tree work, and I had told my tree company that Tom wanted some trees removed. He offered to take the trees down for $75. And at that time, Tom thought it was too expensive.
But was there something wrong with the trees? In other words, if the trees are diseased and he knows it and he doesn't take care of it, he knows it or should know it, and he doesn't take care of it, aha, that's the negligence. But if you just wanted trees trimmed and didn't, that's not negligence.
When those trees were planted, they were planted by the original owners that owned his home, and they were as big as your finger, as wide as your finger.
I know, and then the funny thing happens when you water them.
You can't even put your arm around them.
Right.
And
let me explain. I'm going to explain to you what the law is, and you may like it or you may not like it. All right. People are allowed to have trees, and trees grow. And if your neighbor's tree grows over your property, you have the right to chop up.
Yes, I know.
Okay? I recommend discussing it with your neighbor so that you're neighborly, but you have the right to chop up.
Yes.
But you got to pay for it.
Yes,
he doesn't
I
have
did.
to pay for it. That's one. Two, your neighbor has a tree. The tree is diseased. It's obvious that part of it is dead. It's obvious that something's going to happen. You tell him about it, or he should know about it because it's obvious. You're looking at it. You can prove that. Mm-hmm. He has to pay for any damage that happens. Scenario 3, there's a storm. It is what is known in the insurance industry and in other industries as an act of God, meaning that man is not responsible for it. And a storm happens and a limb breaks off, such as you explained with the shed. That is an act of God, and he doesn't have to pay for it. He did not cause the October 29th storm, okay?
Yeah.
So he clearly doesn't have to pay for the shed. Now, scenario 4, which you have a little bit better of a leg to stand on, is there's a storm October 29th, and weeks later, 2.5 weeks later, a branch that I say was already broken falls on my car. Do you know if that branch was already broken?
There were multiple branches still.
So you're not denying that there were branches broken. You have no idea if this particular one was broken.
I don't know if that one was in there.
Your complaint is he could have taken care of this sooner.
Yeah.
And your answer is, no, I couldn't have, because there's no power, there's a state of emergency, and I tried calling all of these tree companies, and nobody would come out any sooner.
Correct.
If I believe that, then what did you do wrong? Because the idea is you got to take care of it as soon as you can take care of it. And if I believe that statement, because I remember the storm, and I know that people couldn't get tree companies over here, and I know that tree companies from all over the country were coming over here to make some money, and I know that it really took that long, then what did he do wrong?
he told me that he would take care of it and for me to get an estimate.
Look, he either has a legal responsibility to pay it or he doesn't, and the law says he doesn't. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
Well, the law's on the side of the defendant in this one. It's an act of God. What's your feeling about that?
That's what several people have told me, so I'm going to abide by it. And no hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings, no.
How did you come out of the house that day and not notice a huge tree sticking out of your car?
Because we're on the far side of my vehicle. I get in on the driver's side, and it was the passenger side that had been damaged.
You guys talk anymore?
No, he actually moved to Florida.
Oh.
And, you know, we did get along very good, I thought.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good luck with everything. Right around the corner this way. All right, come on in here. What's your reaction to this outcome?
I thought it was going to be exactly the way it was. An act of God is an act of God. We didn't do anything. I thought we were being very neighborly throughout the whole time. And
why'd you move out?
What? Oh, no, not because of the neighbor.
No?
No, we're looking at Florida for other reasons.
Yeah, well, okay. Look out for the hurricanes down there.
Yes, thank you.
Harvey?
I'm telling you, this is a foolproof trick. If you have a neighbor who has a precarious tree, send them an email. It puts them on notice they are screwed if that tree falls. Period. And they'll fix it, by the way. That will do it for this case. Litigants, for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.